What is up everyone? Welcome back to the videos. Mikey from JDM Icon here. Before we start today's video, I just wanted to mention that the store is now open. We have a bunch of new t-shirt and hoodie designs ready for you guys. A couple things to mention is a really cool new thing that we have now live on the store are these motion peakers, which I am totally in love with. This is obviously Sasuke Uchiha. If you guys watch Naruto, it is so good. It's one of my favorite anime. But when you move over to the side, he actually changes. You can actually see him change throughout the whole anime. Here's like kid Sasuke, and then here's like him when he's older and stuff like that. It's really, really cool. We also came out with these air fresheners that are made in Japan. It's called a swing hand pop. It smells actually really good. It's pretty similar to the JDM squash scent that everyone loves. And the cool thing about it is when you're driving around, this thing actually moves back and forth. So if you guys are interested in supporting the YouTube channel by not only liking and subscribing to our videos, check out the link to the store down below, as it really helps us out and it supports what we're doing and also make videos for you guys to watch. I honestly love starting this car. I think 350Z cold starts, even with a muffler delete, sound really, really good. It's just a clean, crisp tone, especially followed by one of these. Yes. I just picked up some GK Tech outer tie rods for the Z for this year's drift event. My buddy hooked it up with PMU brake shoes. This is actually specified for drifting. Shout out to Ethan from Shadow Risen for hooking it up. I'm so excited to finally put these on the Z and really test out what the Z can do with just simple angle mods and simple mods like this to improve it on the drift track. One thing I did want to show you guys is his dad's Porsche, and it actually looks really, really cool. So this is it right here. It looks sick. It has like a carbon fiber wing on the back too, and this is his dad's daily. Like, that's insane. It looks so sick, and I love the color too. It looks so cool. Drilled rotor, it just looks insane, and it's like his daily too. I thought my daily was badass, but Ethan, if you're watching this, your dad's pretty f***ing cool too. Winter driven and everything. He has winter tires on it. That's so cool. Looks so sick. I think this spot should be good enough. Obviously, this video is on my 350Z, a car that I really, really love. It's been one of my dream cars for a while. I grew up seeing the 350Z commercials on TV, seeing it in Tokyo Drift when it first came out and stuff like that. So as a kid, this is the car that I've always wanted. And now that I'm older and I finally have one, I just love driving this car, especially every single day. But this video isn't about that. This video is about just things that I just love about my 350Z and why I just always love pushing people to buy 350Zs, because they are getting more and more expensive, and that kind of sucks for a lot of people because I want people to enjoy and experience these cars. And honestly, it's becoming the Nissan Silvia S16 at this point, because parts are cheap, it's easy to mod, easy to work on. There's so many things you can do with it, but the cars are getting more and more expensive. Before I get into this video, this is supposed to be 10 things I like about the 350Z. Basically, I only came up with 9. Oh my god, I hate my hair. Unless I think of something on the fly, we're just gonna have 9. The first thing that made me fall in love with the 350Z is honestly the way it looks. I just love the body style where the front end is really long. The roof line just flows really well, and it comes into like a fastback looking. I just like the 350Z, especially way more than the 370Z. I feel like the 370Z, this part of the car is just way too short. It's more like curved. It's more hatchback, if that makes sense. I know both cars are hatchbacks, but in my opinion, this looks more like a coupe. I feel like this is going to be a very iconic Z, especially as the years go by. Stepping inside the car, the inside of the 350Z, in my opinion, looks really, really sleek too, especially for a car that's almost 20 years old at this point. It still looks really sporty, although yes, you can say it does look kind of dated because there's a lot of plastic everywhere. I love how in all of the Zs they kept this 3 gauges here, and they actually made it useful. It's not useless like it's just like a clock or something like that. It's actually like, this is your oil pressure gauge, this is your voltmeter for your batteries. These 2 gauges are actually really, really good to have in any car. And then this gauge right here, it's actually super useful. I can actually toggle through it. Other than reading your speed there, You can read your speed here, which is what I usually keep it at. You can also have it read the outside temperature. I'm pretty sure this is the kilometers per tank, your average miles per gallon or kilometers per liter. I believe this is the driving time that you have. I don't usually use this gauge so much. They also included a stopwatch. If you're at the track, you can actually just press the lower button, I believe, and just time yourself. And then that's actually really cool because the 350Z was marketed as being a track car, but obviously nowadays it's kind of like a drift car now. And this is my favorite. This 350Z comes stock with a shift light. I don't know if you can see right there, but you can see a little square right there, and you can adjust when the shift light comes on. Although my RPMs only go up to like 7,000, you can't rev it all the way up to 8. Obviously, it just goes like that around 7,000 RPM, all the way up to 8,000, I believe. Yeah, and then goes back down to 2. I think those are really cool features that Nissan added to the car. And those are just things you don't really see nowadays, especially in like newer sports cars. It's super minimalistic. It's not super crazy in your face like a lot of the cars nowadays. It's just so simple that it just looks so good. But one thing I really like about certain car interiors, or one thing I keep an eye out for, and I don't know why, but I think air vents, they're just so cool to me. And I like how when you close the air vent on the Z, it just becomes smooth. I don't know if that's cool to anyone else, but to me it just looks so sick when it's closed. There's also a vent in the Z. When you open the door, it actually has a Z there. Just small details like this that Nissan added to the 350Z, and in my opinion it's just really cool, especially for a car that's like 20 years old. Comparing the Z's interior to my Evo 10, which was a way more expensive car than the 350Z, the interior in the Z, in my opinion, looks way better. The third thing on our list is something I really love in cars, is the driving position. In the 350Z, I don't have a POV cam or anything, but I'll try my best with the camera I have right now. As a person that loves driving cars, the driving position is so important. And in the 350Z, I have zero complaints. Like, here, check it out for yourself. This is what you see. So nice having a tachometer right in front of you, right there. Speedometers here. Everything just feels driver oriented and it's nice to drive. Despite my aftermarket steering wheel, everything is really easy to reach and stuff like that. When you sit down in the 350Z, it feels like a sports car. It doesn't feel like an economy car that your grandma would drive to Walmart. It honestly feels like a sports car, and that's what I love about this. I guess this can go into driving position is when you adjust the steering wheel, the gauges actually move with you, and I just love that. Like, the fact that Nissan thought about that is just insane to me. Proves that Nissan actually cares about the drivers and how they feel. This is the only car that I've owned personally or that I've driven that has this feature, that's just so cool. Like, I just love that. Now, obviously, Nissan, in my opinion, nailed the interior. They nailed the driving position, but how does the car actually feel to drive? I wish I can have every one of you guys test drive my Z, take it into this empty parking lot that is right in front of me right now, and do some donuts and experience the 350Z for yourself. Handling wise, I have no complaints with the 350Z. Obviously, for a stock car, I feel like Nissan did a great job with how the car handles. It dives into corners really well. Again, I'm not a race car driver. I don't go to the track often, but I'm pretty happy with how the 350Z feels, and comparing it to my S13, I'd rather drive my 350Z. And I know tons of people would rather have their Silvia, but comparing it to the R32 that we have, both being front engine, rear wheel drive cars, I still prefer how the 350Z feels. I wish the 350Z was a good like 400 or 500 pounds lighter. That would make a huge difference. Basically, for a stock Z on lowering springs, I really don't have any complaints. The front suspension feels really good, and the rear differential locks up really well, especially for drifting. The steering wheel on the Z specifically is actually a lot harder. I thought it was just the 90s cars in general that have really soft power steering, but when I drove my Evo, I found it a little too soft for being a rally car and being like a sport-oriented sedan, like a sports sedan. But the 350Z is actually pretty heavy, and I actually learned to like that. It feels like a proper sports car, and I feel like when you buy a Z, that's exactly what you want the steering to feel. Now, as many of you guys know, the 350Z comes with 3.5 liter V6 engine. For some reason, a lot of the guys don't like that engine, and I see what people say, how it kind of sounds like a trumpet. At the same time, it's a really reliable motor. Correct me if I'm wrong. I read somewhere that the VQ35DE, which is actually one most reliable motor of its year. If that doesn't mean anything to you, I don't know what does. So I'm pretty happy with the 350Z's powertrain and drivetrain. I have no issues yet, but I'm sure when I do, you guys are gonna be the first to find out. Alright, so the next thing we're gonna be talking about is the affordability of the 350Z. As of right now, the 350Zs come in a lot of different price ranges. You can literally buy one right now for about 5,000 to 7,000 and enjoy it. Most likely going to be higher mileage. It's not going to be the cleanest car. The paint may not be very good. To top it all off, it's probably broken in some way. Because like I said earlier, these 350Zs are kind of like the next S chassis. They've had abusive relationships, to say the least. And some of them may not have the best history, if that makes sense. I feel like the $10,000 range, you're not buying something that's too beat up, and you're not buying something that's too minty that you wouldn't want to drive every day. So I feel like the $10,000 range would be perfect if you want to look for a 350Z as of right now. And obviously, after you spent your hard-earned money on a 350Z, the next thing you're going to want to do is look up mods. And nothing sucks more than spending your money on a car that doesn't have any aftermarket support. But luckily for us, for the 350Z, there is so much aftermarket support. You can literally be on the computer for days looking up literally anything for the 350Z. And because this isn't an S13 or an R32, the prices for these aftermarket parts are actually decently affordable. Like, you can almost do anything with a 350Z. Which brings us into our next thing, which is how versatile the car is. Me personally speaking, if you stance an Evo, I personally feel that Evos and STIs, they're made to be sports cars, to be like rally cars. And if you stance out an Evo or an STI, in my opinion, it's like chopping the legs off a cheetah. Like, the one thing it does well, it can't do anymore, if that makes sense. With the 350Zs, it's a perfect blank slate. Like, if you want to stance the 350Z, there are so many parts that you can buy specifically to stance a 350Z. I just love how versatile the 350Z is, whether it's a stance car, drift car, track car, show car. The Zs are just so versatile, and you can almost do anything you want to a 350Z. I just love how creative a lot of people can be with the 350Zs because of how versatile the aftermarket parts are. Owning an R32 and an S13 really made me realize that for those cars, there are tons of aftermarket support, and it's really easy to find anything aftermarket for the car. Oddly enough, it is so hard to find OEM factory replacement parts. None of the part shops around me carry them. This car is so easy on parts, and I love it, which makes it amazing to go drifting, because when you go drifting, you're gonna break a lot. But with the Z, you can break stuff and you can fix it the next day. So I'm happy that the 350Z is still super easy to get parts for. I don't know whether to be happy or sad about this, because it is a good thing and a bad thing at the same time. More and more rare. Why it's a bad thing in my opinion is because the more that this car isn't on the road anymore, means the harder it is to find parts. The less that you see this car on the road, the more iconic it's gonna be. And especially when you see a 350Z maybe 20, 30 years from now. We're not there yet, but eventually I feel like the 350Z is gonna become one of those modern day JDM icons, no pun intended to the channel. I feel like it's gonna be one of those cars. Just, we're not there yet. I strongly feel it's technically the next generation of Silvias. The more people drift them, the more people write them off every single day. These cars are gonna be more rare and more rare, but at the end of the day, at least we enjoy the cars that we have. And you still can't get away from the fact that it's a broken Nissan. There you go, all fixed. Alright, so that's really close. Alright, so that is 9 things that I love about my 350Z. But wait, there's more. I did think of a 10th thing to add to the list, which is the community behind Nissan 350Zs. And actually, it's not only 350Zs. It's any Z. Like, you could have a 240Z and still go online and meet this huge community of people that just love 240Zs. I honestly love it, because whenever I have an issue with my Z or I can't figure it out, someone has been through it before and posted about it online. So having a community like that to back you up and help you out when you need it is really, really awesome. But anyways guys, that is 10 things I absolutely love about my 350Z. If you want to see some things that I hate about this car, I'll leave an annotation in the corner here or here, whatever side it is. But I want to get more personal with you guys on the channel, so let me know down below, what car would you rather own? A Toyota GT86 or BRZ, or a Nissan 350Z? Let me know down below and tell me why you picked the car that you did, because I'm really interested to hear what you guys think. But once again, thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, remember to leave a like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next one. Peace.